Good morning, everyone. My name is Benjamin, and welcome to another update of our Senate election model. And obviously, you can see where stuff lies, and by now, y'all probably know what the color combinations mean. So I want to talk about something. I see a lot of people saying that Arizona favors the Democrats right now, either in a tilt or even a lean category, and that just doesn't make sense to me. And let me explain why it doesn't make sense to me. The first and probably the biggest reason why I don't think it makes sense is because it's still a Republican state. At least by my math, and you can see, the partisanship. Let's go ahead and scroll over state partisanship. Let's scroll down to Arizona. Arizona special. Its state partisanship is 4.9% more Republican than the nation as a whole when talking about the two-party vote share. So this means that if we assume that the nation is about 2% more Democratic, favors the Democrats by about 2%. So let's say, a 51-49 margin should be expected in the popular vote nationwide. It means Arizona should be, let's go 2 points and then 4 points. Arizona should be 51-49 for the Republican in this year. In a federal election, right? So presidential election. Now you'd say, well, Senate elections are different, but Senate elections these days are extremely partisan, and they're almost as partisan as a presidential election, and especially so in a presidential election year, which this one is. I don't care that it's a special election. I don't care that the Democrats had a good year, especially in Arizona in 2018, because 2018 is not the 2020 turnout model. Anyone who thinks that should automatically have their prediction thrown out. The Republicans are going to be much more motivated in 2020 than in 2018, when they had control of the Senate, control of the House, control of the White House. In 2020, there's one that they don't have control over, and that's the House of Representatives. In addition, it's a presidential election year. They're going to be motivated to re-elect Donald Trump. Sure, the Democrats are going to be motivated to get him out of office, but they were motivated in 2016 to keep him from getting into office. The point is that Arizona shouldn't be considered anything other than a state that favors the Republican in the Senate election and the presidential election. If you have them split, that's not the correct way to be evaluating this race. And if you have them, at least if you have it tilt Democrat and tilt Democrat in both, at least you're acknowledging that Senate election results these days are correlated with the presidential election. Yes, Arizona is a swing state, or a toss-up state, or a battleground state. I want to call it a swing state since it hasn't gone to the Democrats since the 90s, but my point is that it is going to be a competitive race, both in the presidential election and in the Senate election. But the race still favors the Republicans because of the state's history, because of the state's partisanship, and because the momentum is not in the Democrats' favor nearly as much as 2018, and I'm going to argue it's not in their favor at all because Donald Trump has slight momentum as an incumbent president. And that's going to lift up the Senate elections as well, even if the candidates there don't have momentum. In this case, Martha McSally. She's going to get a little bit of a boost from Donald Trump. Now, it's not to say that the Democrats can't win this state. I'm not saying it's safe Republican. I'm saying that the race favors the Republican. There's a massive, massive difference there, okay? Now, Maine, I can hear the arguments, and I 100% get and understand the arguments. I'm not going to criticize anyone who thinks Maine should be tilt or lean Democrat. I don't see any point in doing so. We disagree, but my disagreement is because the math is pointing me that it leans towards Suzanne Collins. However, I can see how a person can make the guess that Maine should tilt or lean Democratic. I'm not going to criticize anyone who has that. But if you honestly, seriously believe that the Democrats should be favored in Arizona, bless your heart, because you're not looking at numbers. You're looking at Democratic propaganda. This is probably the same stuff that convinced that one guy to say that Texas was going to go blue in 2018. Yeah, anyone with a brain knew that wasn't the case, but whatever. And sorry I'm ranting and raving a little bit here, but I think it's important that you look at things objectively, or at least as objectively as possible. And here's the thing. I'm biased. I recognize it. I don't like Democrats. Or at least I don't like their politics. I know quite a few Democrats in real life, and they are very good people. And some of them are some of my best friends. Okay, I even, some of my best friends are even, full-on socialists. I don't care about their politics. As long as they honestly believe that it's the best for the nation, and they have their reasons for believing that, and it's not just, oh, somebody said it was good. If they can cite their sources well, you know what? All the power to them. That's beautiful. That's the whole point of this nation, is that we can disagree, but at the end of the day, we're still Americans. Okay? But if you're going to be trying to forecast an election or trying to predict the result of a race, please, for the love of God, do the math. I started this channel in 26, or not started the channel, I've had this channel since 2012, but I started doing election forecasts on this channel in 2016. And I tried to use numbers. I did it extremely poorly. I still did better than Nate Silver, but my reasons for predicting Donald Trump to win in 2016 were not good. They were not good. I got lucky. 2018, I started to focus more on the numbers and more on the average and more on the turnout and more on focusing on the ground game. And I did significantly better, at least in my opinion, even if I got races wrong. Some of them were just complete surprises to me. Kansas governor's race being a key example, being a prime example. Same thing with Iowa to an extent. I guess Florida caught everyone off guard. But it's insane to think that I did a surprisingly good job in that one. I think I maybe got 5 races wrong that year. Somebody check my final prediction, tell me exactly how many I got wrong. I think I also predicted that Democrats would pick up about 40 seats in the Senate and max, or not Senate, sorry, 40 seats in the House at the top end of the range I gave them, and they did. So I was relatively close there. So I do have a history of actually doing this right and doing this well. I think, I can get races wrong. I mean, it's happened in the past. I can definitely get things wrong. I'm not immune to it. I'm just trying to say that I'm confident that when I say something, it's going to happen. If I get it wrong, oh well, I got it wrong. Let's figure out why I got it wrong. Kansas, I got wrong because I underestimated how hated Chris Kobach was, and the effect of Dave, Orman, the third-party candidate, the third-party conservative. And the Senate race, a lot of Democrats are automatically thinking, oh my God, Chris Kobach's going to lose because he's the Republican nominee. It's not that simple, guys. It's why Kentucky is safe Republican even though Mitch McConnell is running. It's because Kentucky's partisanship, lined up with a presidential election year, doesn't matter when it comes to how unpopular he is. It's a Republican state in a presidential year with a Republican incumbent in the Senate who is running. All those factors should take Kentucky straight off the map. However, I hear everyone saying, "Why don't you think Kentucky is competitive?" It's annoying, honestly. And I'm sorry if you're the type of person who thinks it's competitive and is trying to get me to report on the race, but it's just not an interesting race. I mean, if you really want me to, if I get the chance, I'll hop on to Kentucky for a weekend and, start asking them if they're going to vote for, start asking Kentuckians if they're going to vote for, Mitch McConnell or whoever the Democrat is, and I guarantee you I'm going to get a safe McConnell margin. If I really wanted to, I could probably head on out to Kansas. I mean, it'd take maybe 2 tanks of gas, but, I'm not flying. But, I get why people sometimes have issues with my predictions, because they seem to favor the Republicans a decent amount. And maybe I do have a slight Republican bias, but if anything, that's more of me just not trusting the Democrats. Oh, we're going to turn them out this time around. At a certain point, you're wondering if the Democrats are the boy that cried wolf. They say, oh, we're going to turn out college kids. Yeah, they didn't do so in 2016. 2018, oh, we're going to turn out, Latinos. And to a degree they did, but the 3 states that you would expect to have the most Latino influence, they, in terms of the actual vote count, Texas, Florida, Arizona, they only won 1 of those races. And they were actually in danger of losing that 1 that they did win. So I'm skeptical about the whole, oh, we're going to turn out this group this time argument. So, anyway, sorry about the rant. Sorry about the whole getting angry. And if y'all in the comments do criticize my maps, understand I do value the criticisms. I do value any constructive feedback y'all give. It's important. It helps me adjust things based off of what y'all say, especially if you're critiquing the methodology, not just the final prediction. So if you're saying, oh, you flipped these 2 numbers in your model, I'll fix that immediately. Or if you say, well, I think you should be adjusting your polls, I'll consider it, but there's I want to hear why you think I should be adjusting the polls. And please, if you're going to be saying adjust the polls, recognize that there are pollsters that favor Republicans. Anyway, rant over. Hope y'all enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time. Take it easy. Bye.